It's loading. Just a second. All right.
All right. It's
You
got a
got it.
minute. It got a minute on there. Like as if we've been on for about a minute. It only seems
Yeah.
like a few seconds, but that's okay. How do you get it up on LinkedIn though? Like I could just join it? How do I do that?
Uh,
I'm so retarded sometimes. Like, well, good morning, everybody, whoever might be around listening. Welcome. Third episode. What an amazing episode we got planned. Amelia Taylor coming to bat today. Wow. 5-time Rev Genius, LinkedIn Live, cold calling champion, crushing it. She'll probably have some amazing ideas as to how to impress your prospect on the phone. I think some of the things that I've heard her do is like the takeaway. I've been a huge fan of the takeaway for many years. You know, when you tell somebody, and you've done it too, when you say, "Hey, I don't really think this is a fit for you." Or for us, kind of like somewhere early or midway in the call, and then the prospect turns around and goes like, "Wait! What do you mean?" It's like the best feeling in the world, man. So, what's happening with you this morning, man?
yeah, man. Got the coffee brewing. Really stoked for this episode. It's gonna be a great way to kind of round out the week, I think. Listen
You
to
guys, yeah, you guys had a good Austin Carroll. That was is that who it was, right? Austin.
yeah.
Yeah, he was he's all over the place. You know, like I see him on your show, and the next thing I know, I guess when you connect on LinkedIn, right? Then all of a sudden you're like in their world. And I saw him having another conversation with another guy. He posted, or that guy posted. I don't know. It's hard to follow, but everyone's jumping on the bandwagon. I love it, man. I love producing content. Hey, what's up
Hey,
there?
there he is. What's up,
Nice.
Austin? Good morning.
I I got to get you. Well, it would have been kind of weird to put you on today's show, Austin, after you were on Tuesday's show. But if you want to chat with us one day, that would be cool too. No, I thought that was a great episode, and I just love talking with people who come from other walks of life, not sales or not tech sales. I think that it's interesting to hear how they can transfer their skills. I think that's the hardest thing. People changing careers. My wife is changing career.
Hmm.
She's a mental health therapist, and she's moving potentially to get a job at Chubb Insurance. So if anybody knows Chubb Insurance and wants to put a good word in for my wife, that'd be great. It's like a underwriting associate job. I mean, completely the opposite of what she's doing now. But and she went through the old way of getting the job too, which I think is actually a real interesting topic. A guy that I spoke to just yesterday, um, Aaron Wallace. You might have seen a post from me. He was a teacher
Yeah.
in May, and now
It's
works for
amazing.
one of the best tech sales. I mean, it's Chili Piper. You
That's
know,
huge.
yeah. And I thought what was interesting. I didn't get it around to cutting this part of it up, but which, by the way, I love editing video. It's so cool when you're able to do all these things and put backgrounds to it and logos and and then you got to go through this. Like I use Subtitle. Shout out to
Uh,
Subtitle for the captioning. And what's funny about that is you could do all kinds of things inside of there with the display and make it look good for LinkedIn, which I dig. Canva, shout out to Canva. I use Canva a lot. Canva actually has templates for Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. So really great tool for creating, images and backgrounds and things like that, or for anything that you're doing, PowerPoint, whatever. I mean, it has so many templates. And he talked about, really clearly what he did in teaching that
Mhm.
translates directly to sales. And I don't mean just because you can teach or coach. He's not doing that. He's talking about just the way he approached teaching, right? Like,
Yeah.
he realized that every student, like every prospect, learns differently, hears differently, thinks differently, right? And he catered his teaching style to each one of those students. He had a group of students that could learn by visual. There's a group of students who learned with an infusion of comedy, a group of students who you just had to be direct with,
Right.
and it was such a correlation. I just let him have the floor, and I was blown away. Kind of like the benchtop chemistry cooking analogy. So I kind of turned that into a series. I'm calling it Outside This Box. The box was supposed to have the word sales in it, but I couldn't do that. And so, yeah, it just seems to be I'm really fascinated by that. I'm really fascinated by people who could come over from another industry, or for that matter, no sales, like
Yeah.
a mental health therapy, or cooking, or teaching is a big one now. And really transfer those skills and be successful is, it's really been an exciting thing to see, and let people open their eyes to hiring those people, because they bring a lot to the table that you really can't see at first.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Because tech sales is a weird thing, right? Like we always talk about being inclusive and like bringing people into the fold, right? But then at the same time, like tech as a whole seems to like gatekeep a lot, right? Like, oh, you have a certain kind of background, you sold cars, you did XYZ, you were a teacher. Like they make it kind of difficult, right? And it's like we hold tech sales in such high esteem uh, compared to some other industries. It's really cool to see people like Aaron, breaking the mold and kind of kicking the door in and saying, "Hey, I'm here." Like, I watched that episode or the clip that you shared of that conversation, and just the mindset, exploring those different ways to approach like market segmentation and like personas, like and how he related that to breaking students into smaller groups, based on their learning style. Like just next level stuff. That was just brilliant. Really enjoyed it.
I was like, I was blown away by it. I really was. I mean, even more so than the benchtop chemistry one with Barrett a couple of weeks ago. I mean, I knew there's a connection. I've heard about it before. I've heard other people on the uh, on LinkedIn and what have you, who've transferred their skills from other careers. But that was like it was a really cool connection that he made. One of the other things that he talked about too, which I would love to maybe dig in a little bit here in terms of recruiting. One of the things that, I was told a long time ago, other than leveraging your network and such, to try to skip the line and get an opportunity without having to go through resume, sending out millions of resumes, or Indeed or something like that, is what's interesting is with Aaron. He told me that, he started mingling in the community. He had a sales job on the side that was in the weekend, like insurance sales, and he was actually making good money. But of course, with a new baby on the way and stuff like that, he didn't really want to be working weekends, and really was looking for some stability with the salary and commission and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
so he wanted to get into sales and tech sales, and he started talking with some people, but he really wanted to work at Chili Piper. Like that
Okay.
was the top of his list. So somebody told me a long time ago, it's like when you're going to go look for a job, whether it's in tech sales or other kind of sales, you should make yourself a list of maybe the 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 or whatever top companies that you want to work for, and make a sales effort, right? Like a
Yep.
motion, a cadence, if you will, um, to reach out to the people that work there, people that work in the same job you're going for, the leaders, the CEO, whatever it is, and just follow them, like them, comment, engage, send them some messaging, DM, I don't know, maybe a Sendoso or something like that. Oh, Amelia's here. Okay. Let's get her in here. Just to finish my thought, that the thing about it is he really focused on that company, right?
Mhm.
And he did more than just waiting around and seeing if they're going to call me kind of prospecting. He did that. He called other SDRs. He found out about what it was like to work there. He found out about the leaders and he communicated with them. And then when the time came for them that they ramped up their hiring again, who do you think they called first? Brilliant story.
Yeah.
Where is she? Where is she? Let's bring her
All
in.
right. Let's bring her in.
There she is.
Hello. All right, can
Good
y'all
morning.
hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yeah. Okay. Because y'all are, I'm trying to talk to y'all through my AirPods, and you're on just the computer speaker, so I'm really on top of everything this morning. How are you guys?
All right, all right. Well, we had some
Well,
technical difficulties also, so don't worry. It's
Right.
technology.
This
We're in
tech.
we're in technology sales, and yet we can't seem to get our technology right, right?
Listen, I tell people all the time when I talk to them, I'm like, you don't have to worry. I'm not the one who's going to be touching any of your tech. I am on the sales side. I'm not on the tech side because it takes me 2 hours to just plug my monitors in to figure out how two monitors can go into a MacBook. So like I don't the tech and we don't work together very well, but I can talk
there
about it all day to anybody. So
you go.
Yeah,
We'll just pretend it's a demo. It's all good.
no, it's fine.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
all fine. Everything's fine.
So, are you on later this afternoon? Is this like the sixth round? Are you still like on top? King of the hill, queen of the hill, or what?
No, I don't even know if I've hit 5, y'all. I'm not gonna
Oh,
lie. I don't know. Last week I was out of town and I wasn't feeling good, and I was like, you know what, Jared, I can't do this. Um, so sorry. And then I was like, there it goes. And then he was like, then I see a post sharing the Junior and Rebecca will be there today to face off me, whatever. And I'm like, I guess I am still going. So um,
nice. So,
you
what do
know,
you think of the Nooks platform? That's what they're using over there, right? Like to stream that out and
yeah, I
Nooks.
like
It's
it. Um, I have so I'm a social seller through and through. So my big thing is not calling. And so getting back on any kind of dialer seems abnormal to me. It's not the flow that I'm used to at all. So I'm used to these warm touches beforehand to where I'm kind of warming up anything, even if it's a cold call. So it's kind of a warm call, if you will.
mhm.
Okay.
Or so the way I've always worked is not this like mass go, 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 go. And when I mean, I've been there, done that, where it's the psycho amount of dials that you make a day. Granted, that's going to, you know, hopefully you get, out of 100 calls, you're going to get one person, right? Who's going to say yes to whatever you're doing. But um, a lot of what I've been doing is just simply having relationships built with people or people I've sold to previously where I'm
Mm,
thinking, okay, I already know you. You're
mhm.
going to be on this list that I can call because I'm going to just already have this warm touch of I've sold to you before with a product. So I know you could benefit from this, or I know that you just job changed. You had this whole job change to where you're a newer AE. Let's make you look really good and give you this free version of this offering that's not even my product that I'm pitching to, which is kind of I think it's a blessing and a curse too, because too many reps know too much about what their product is or too little. Some of those who know too little do better than those who don't. Um, because you don't know enough. So you've got to ask the questions.
Mhm.
And those who know too much, they're pulling everything out of their back pocket that they know, and they're almost throwing it at you, right?
Yeah.
So
Mhm. Or
not
they're
knowing what I don't know about lead magic, which is what I've been pitching because I use it. So it's
Mhm.
just been where it's helped me see who's, the traffic flowing in through our website. And so I'm like, all right, I'm just going to kind of wing this and see how it goes. And it's been great. Jesse's generated, Jesse, I'll let who owns Lean Magic. He's generated a few leads from it and closed a few deals from it. And I'm like, all right, I guess something's working just because you get it to the right person.
Yeah, yeah, no, I that sounds awesome. I know Jesse really well. I'm familiar
Mhm.
with Lead Magic. I'm sure Zach is too. But you know
Mhm.
what's interesting to me. I'd love for you to go back and kind of break down a little bit more about your process. Like when you say you social sell, is granted, there's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. There's all these channels, and maybe you might even say a warm intro could be through email, but how many touches before you might make a phone call to, let's just say, a new prospect or a unique person, not somebody like you calling me because you know me and you want to
Right.
chit chat like that? Not
Yeah.
that. I'm talking about like kind of for either carabiner or whatever. Like, where's the starting point?
It's my starting point is I would say 9 out of 10 times it's a starting point on Slack to where I'm in a community and it's, oh, they posted something. Oh, I think I can help in this regard. So I have that quick touch. Would love to schedule time. Here's my calendar link for the sake of simplicity. I'm a fan of that. Some people cannot stand when people just, I think that's kind of an unpopular opinion right there. I'm a fan of it, argue if you will, but people want the simplicity in their life. So if they don't schedule something, or if they don't get back to me, I'll pick up the phone. I'll call them.
Like
And
when you send that message though via the Slack channel, is it, I think whatever you say in the beginning, I think I can help, or this is interesting to me. Do you just say,
mhm,
can we jump on a call? Do you drop a calendar link, or do you just say, can we jump on a call? I'm always like, I don't know about you, Zach, but like, I'm always like, I want to ask for it, but
yep,
I always cringe when I open up a LinkedIn message and
get
because
that
on your
link.
phone, it opens at the
Yeah.
end and all I see is their calendar link. And I'm like,
Mhm,
oh my God, what is this? Like, I haven't even, and that's what you see
right.
first. So I
What
scroll
is
up and I'm like,
that?
all this pitching stuff, and then it's like, here's my calendar link. I
Mhm.
answer the ones who are like, maybe I just want to have a chat. Don't even tell me
Mhm.
what they do. Let me
Yep.
investigate you and see if I want to have that chat with you, as opposed to trying to pitch me. And like we said this last week, Jack, right? People are trying to pitch you and me about outsourced business development, which is what we do. So
You're
I'm
like,
like, I don't understand.
do that, bro. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, do
Yeah.
not pitch
Yeah.
me on what those are the best. The ones that, I mean, I'm getting people who are, I'll get messages for companies that I haven't been at in years. And I'm like, what? Or just because I jumped on the helping with the 10 bound founders stuff. And so with that, people are reaching out, and that's not my job. That's just something I help with that's on my LinkedIn. So people clearly are just automating things because they're looking at like, oh, job change. Great. That showed up on there. It wasn't a real job change, but that's what it's looking at. But so for me, so like I'll give you just total example. There was a guy who posted in a Slack community and he said that he was looking for some HubSpot experts who were able to kind of fix some of their instances they had over there. Also, it's becoming more robust. They didn't have the time, the resources internally to be able to just kind of make everything really solid as they grow and scale. So I said, "Hey, Chris, saw your note. Happy to chat to see if there's potential for alignment with the HubSpot instances that you posted about. If not, happy to pass you along to the right people who I know in my
Mhm.
network. I think always providing that. Offering too is because that's genuinely helping, right?
Mhm.
So helping and selling, if those don't go hand in hand, people can feel that. People know if
Yeah.
you're being genuine or not.
Oh yeah.
Um, and I said, and I did my due diligence with knowing, okay, I can see who this guy knows. So I knew that he was close with Cliff, who I work with. He knows him. And I know that he knows Rosalind Santalena because he comments on a lot of her stuff. So I'm like, all right. I was like, happy to see if Rosalind can hop on with us as well, if that makes more sense, just to get her expertise on what it is that you're trying to do. Either way, great to say hello to you and meet you. Um, Here's my calendar link. For the sake of simplicity, I'll go ahead and toss it your way. Reach out with any questions. Happy to simply be a soundboard if anything. Cheers. So
Nice.
more time. So I read this from Kyle Lacey, who was at Leslie
Sure.
wherever, what is it? Whatever the company is, Seismic, whatever it is. But this is maybe like 2 years ago. I read this post that he had about the simplicity of people providing a calendar link. Granted, it absolutely is situational and it has to be where you've provided this relevancy as to why they even are going to click that.
Mhm.
And when you generate that, when you're on your desktop, you put that calendar link in there, close the X out of the little box that has your whole face that pops up on your calendar link or whatever. Like you can do that. So it's just the little hyperlink. That's it. You don't have
Yeah.
to have that whole thing. Cause like you're saying, you open it and it's just this whole thing. And it's like, God almighty, what are you doing, people?
Yeah.
I don't want to be, no. So it's
That's like
very
me walking up to you in a bar and being like, "Hi, you want to go back to my house?" Like you didn't even tell me you didn't even say your name. Like, that's what I feel like. I
Yeah.
kind of feel like that.
Yeah, I mean, and this is through a Slack channel where our company has a partnership too, so I can rely heavily on that. So there's got to be that EQ of being able to read the room, if you
Mhm.
will, on who it is that you're going to do something like that with. Yeah, I'm.
Yeah.
That's not something I do
Yeah.
all the
Yeah,
time.
And
I got a request yesterday. Somebody reached out to me, and it was relative to insurance sales. And I was a Prudential life insurance salesman back in '95, from
Yeah,
'95 to '97. What makes you? I mean, did you not? I mean, like that's not even on my
zero.
resume. Like it's not even on my LinkedIn. It's like before. It's like 28 experiences ago.
How did
Like,
they find that?
that's what I said. I'm like, how'd you know that? Because I have life. Maybe when they scrape my LinkedIn, they notice that I have a license, like I have Series 6, 63 in life and health.
Yeah,
So maybe the AI picks that up and generates that kind of
that's deep.
message for
That's
him to
deep.
reach out to me with, and they don't check it because I'm in. But look, I'll say this to everybody: like I get pissed off about it, but I realize that I'm probably just getting rolled up into some kind of automation.
Yeah,
And I do give people a little bit of like, all right, you just didn't do your homework. You bulk
Mhm.
sent this, and it is what it is. If it was relevant and timely, great for me.
yeah,
But for you, it's not. It's a waste.
Yeah.
Kind of pursuant to what Zach and I were talking about last week, which is like doing your homework. Not mass dialing, not mass texting, posting, whatever, DMing, and,
right.
and really
Yeah.
just honing in on your right ICP and persona and doing a little bit of homework, at
That's
least so you don't look
Yeah.
stupid.
right. It's just and that's where I found the ones who say, I mean, that's where I found the most success. And I know the reps who are the top performers within their companies and these large organizations too, who are not doing mass scale things. They're
Mhm.
doing things in a very strategic manner to where they're multi-threading their, their outreach. They're not just sticking to the dialer, the phone. They're not just sticking to reaching out via LinkedIn message. They're
Right.
figuring out where their prospects actually live and going there
Mhm.
Yeah.
and being present in that space. And so I think it goes, I mean, I know a lot of my people, my prospects and people, they're in specific Slack communities and I can simply help. And if I can't help them, I'm going to plant that seed and have at least that relationship established to where I can nurture that check in, pass them along to someone if it doesn't make sense for me to work with them. And then that's just there,
Yeah.
then I'll just, but um, it's where you've got to read, like, and there's the weeds out there that people get into to where they overthink this hyper personalization thing too when it comes to that. Stop it. Stop
Yes.
with that. Do not come up to me. Think about it. If you were to go up to somebody at a conference, are you going to say some of the crazy kind of cast bullshit that you're going to be putting in this email
We
that's
allow
so
that here.
good? It's bullshit, y'all. If you all of the things that people put in, it's like, I saw that you went to this school and you were in this fraternity and my great grandfather was too. So we should talk. Like, would I go up to somebody and say that to them in or whatever at a conference? Like, that's kind. There's things that people are doing that are just like, whoa, okay,
Yep.
you're kind of getting a little bit. I know you've stalked me, right? It's almost
Yep.
that's fine. Stalk away. I think
Well, to
to
be fair, right? Like it's right there on your LinkedIn page. So instead of like sometimes I used to think it was creepy, but I kind of just think it's shallow.
yeah.
Like you didn't really like granted, if that's the only thing that's visible, like if I'm like, there's a lot of people out there that aren't active, like me, you, or Zach, or whoever else is
Mhm.
listening, right? And they can't find anything else about us. We're not
Mhm.
at, they're not act. So maybe they just pull that off. Like I'll admit,
Okay. Right.
I saw
Right.
a guy who was Binghamton SAE. My brother was a founding father, Binghamton SAE. I mentioned it, not in the very first thing that I said to him, but
Right.
I mentioned it only because it was really the only thing that I can find that was a connection, maybe that
Yeah.
I could relate
Exactly.
to.
Yeah.
So,
It's so huge. And what I love, Amelia, is you hit on the dark social, right? Without saying it, I
Love the
guess.
dark social.
But you can't sequence that, right? Like, so you have to
Mhm.
have those one-off connections. It has to be real. It has to be authentic because at the end of the day, you've got maybe one shot, right? Like you can't.
You've got an M&M one shot, right? Like, you
Yeah,
can't blow it, right? So
you have to, and it's like it's very, in your face if you continue to hit them with the same message, right? Like a LinkedIn
oh my
message. Everybody's gotten that horrible outreach, from the guys. Oh, I can get you more leads, and they send you the
god.
same message, a week from today because
Are you looking
you
to
didn't answer the
automate
first
your
one.
LinkedIn, like, whatever. That's what I'm getting nonstop. So,
Yep.
your point with that, so when I was at Seamless previously, I really was working these strategic accounts, and I was only working with certain sales directors that I knew were going to deliver the way that I wanted them to. I mean, I was very much so. This is my job description. This is what I'm going to do, and take it or leave it because I knew what I was good at, and I knew where my strengths were at. Knew what I was not good at, and that was sitting on the phone on the dialer all day. That was not where I was going to thrive. So I was like, all right, I can show my ROI based off of just doing things that I'm going to kind of rebel against a little bit, but in a strategic way to where my results speak for themselves. Do I say that as advice? A little bit, yeah. Um, because if a company's not going to let you kind of figure out what your style is, that's kind of a red flag. If they're not going to let
Mhm.
you one show up on social and not be just under their umbrella, red flag. Um, if they want you to, always tag them, always post on their stuff. And if they don't want you to be doing any kind of side hustle or the not even just side hustle stuff, but side hustle meaning dark social, like doing things that are outside the norm, a different method, a different outreach tactic. It's not through sales loft outreach, right? That's
Mhm.
not through the social, it is social selling. It is going diving deeper. And so when I was at Seamless, I was targeting Gong like crazy because there was inbound leads coming in galore where their reps are putting, please convince our leadership to get like that would be their name. Like, please convince leadership to get Gong or to get Seamless. We have zero information we need. That would be their last name. And it's like so funny what they would be putting in there. And so I'm like, all right, Gong's mine, shotgun. So I start going after these two. I start putting some people in Salesforce because I'm like, I'm going to take ownership here. Um, I start having conversations with just champions with them. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to leverage this whole champion relationship that I can build, but I'm going to figure out who knows who and go from there. So I I reached out to two of the as one of the SDR managers and then a sales director over there. And I just said it was right when Zoom Info bought Chorus. And so that happened. And I thought, okay, this is great timing. So I leveraged what was happening in the market and just said, hey, we both know what's going on right now in the market, what happened yesterday. I don't think there's any better time for us to have a conversation than right now.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't remember what all I said there, but I was like, not to mention the amount of inbounds that I'm getting with first name, last name saying that they need more of this. So there's about 80% of your team that I know currently is using the free version of the tool. Let's go ahead and hop on a call and see if it even makes sense for us to move forward. here's this time. Either of those work for you. Let me know. If not, happy to work around your schedule. And he said, well,
Fabulous.
what's going on in the market? Was the first response I got. And I was like, now you're playing me. So I said a super simplified answer of, I think we both know what's going on with the chorus and Zoom info acquisition, all of that happening. And I stated kind of what was going on. Then I said, here's how I think that we can make something happen, but happen together that is big. And then I put three things as to why he should even respond to him.
Right.
And then a question at the end of, does this make sense? Like, or does this resonate the way it should? Something along those lines. And he was like, I absolutely appreciate this. Listen, I'm not going to be your decision maker, but I am a heavy influencer over here. So great job. So totally went dark on me. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to follow up in about 2 days. And so I got like post-it notes galore about like what I'm doing and where I was at and all that. Cause I'm one of those old school people that just will write everything down 10 times. And
Well,
I,
I
so, I mean, everything.
I have 4 others over here on this
Me
side.
too. Me too. Because I'm like, I don't know. Again, I'm not the tech guru person over here. I'm just not. So I'm like, oh, I could do Notion and all kinds of things. I don't know. I'll forget what folder it's in.
I think when you're talking, especially if you're on the phone with somebody, right? I think it's much easier for me. I don't know. Just maybe it's the dexterity of the hands or something to just jot a note really quickly than to click, 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 and type it. Because usually I make mistakes when I type and I want to go back and then I'll be distracted. So I can write on a piece of paper without looking, and just be like, oh,
Right,
that's
right.
interesting.
And I think people appreciate that too, right?
Yeah.
That you're actually, if I say to them, hey, I'm not ignoring you, by the way, I'm just writing down. I feel like when we chatted not long ago, like you said that to me, you were like, hey, I am paying attention. I'm literally just writing down what you said.
Right.
And it's like, oh, good. Okay. They're actually like engaging with what I'm doing. But with Gong, it was where I did the same kind of outreach with the sales director and called him as well. So I did that different approach with both of them to kind of A/B test where kind of feeling the waters a bit on where I should go.
Yeah.
And so he picked up and he was like, hey, not your guy, but listen, you got to go to this person. Totally appreciate the outreach and appreciate you name dropping too, with you already having engagements with the sales manager. He was like, yeah, a ton of our reps are using the free version right now. So didn't hear back from the sales manager, kept kind of pursuing. So I sent him a voice memo, through LinkedIn. And the good thing with that is you can obviously see that little, just like you can with any message, but you can see if they've listened to that. The good thing about voice text, like if you did it over text, they're either going to keep the note or it's going to disappear once they listen to it. So you could know if they've heard that or not, which is interesting to me. But that's on an on basis thing too. If you're going to go and be aggressive with texting, different topic for sure. But sent him a voice thing. So I read it. Next day, I'm like, you responded. We're going to make this happen. So I sent him a video art, and I was very much so like, listen, I'm going to go ahead and toss time on your calendar because I know you're busy. If it doesn't work, we're going to pivot, shift, whatever we need to do. But I know what your team needs based off of the needs that they're sharing without you even knowing. So we're going to do this. I'm going to put 2 times on your calendar. You pick and choose, delete the other one. If both don't work, get back with me in some other times, but let's make it simple. I'm going to make your life easier. And he accepted one literally within like 2 minutes.
That's awesome.
So do you feel like because you've already had, like, you're talking really blunt with him, right? Like you're talking very like you and your best friend talking, right? Which is wonderful to hear. Do you feel like you're comfortable doing that? Like, because you've already had this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth? Because you seem like you were like that from minute one anyway. So
I think that's just how I am. I think it's just that if you don't come with this approach of I'm human, you're human, let's just break down any kind of barrier. If it makes sense, it makes sense. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I'm going to help if I can. I think if you always provide that extra help of okay, I can point you in the right direction if it's not me who can help you.
Yeah.
That's a game changer kind of thing, because you're going to help regardless. That goes a lot into the whole, are you selling a product or a service too, which I think are vastly different.
Most definitely.
And I like that you just kind of doubled down on the problem, right? And that persona that he's dealing with the headache, related to Zoom Info or whatever
Right.
system he's using. Um, and just using the fact that he's busy, to kind of blow that off and push it down the path, so to speak. Um, I like that you just went after it and told him, "Hey, look, this is the solution that you probably need.
Yeah.
Is it worth a conversation?" And you
Yeah.
just don't.
So
uh,
to finish this, they took my two of the teams over there. One had 18 reps, one had 25 reps. They both used my sequence that I did, and they implemented it into my wording, my outreach, all of that into those two teams to test it. And I get word of this from one of my buddies who was over at Seamless with me when I was there, and he was good friends with this guy Parker, who was at Gong, who was
Is
one of
that
my
Parker Hammer?
yeah. No, 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 no,
Not
no,
Parker
no,
Hammer?
no, but I love him. Let's shout out to him because he's like I was actually talking to somebody about him yesterday. I was like, this guy knows what he's doing. Like he's one of those like dark social, he gets it too,
Yeah.
from that rep standpoint. But shoot,
Don't
Parker,
worry.
Parker. EID. I feel like that's his last name. I something. I don't know. Shout out to you, Parker. All the Parkers, shout out. um, so he was buddies with a guy that I work with at Seamless. And so I said, hey Matt, like the guy at Seamless, uh, any word on what's going on with the hey Michelle, any word what's going on with going like kind of gone dark on me? And he was like, yeah, I actually just got off a call with Parker. They totally have taken everything that you did and they've implemented it within two of their teams there to test out what your sequence is like to see if it was beneficial for them. And I was like, what? It wasn't even a sequence. Is going back to your whole point, Zach. Like it was never a sequence that I had because I don't know if you can mass push out, you can't have that relevancy to the scale that you want if you don't get more granular with it in a
Mhm.
sequence. It has to be on like a smaller scale that you push out a sequence to your ICP if you want to do it really well with that
Yep.
personalization. Because I think the relevancy it's got to match or at minimum match that personalization, relevancy and personalization. Because if it's not relevant to them, why the hell are they giving you any of their time?
Well, it's relevance and timing, right? Is always the key. Whether it's a phone call, an email, a text message, a LinkedIn message, right? Like you can be that's what I always coach on is when somebody says they're not interested. It's just they may not be interested now, especially if you had a conversation and they
Right.
said, "Nah, it's not the right time." Oh, okay. Because if you did your homework and you've got the right persona and you know that other personas very much like them in the same industry have the same problem, they may not have that problem. They may already have solved it, or
Mhm.
they're ignoring it, or the pain isn't enough for them to want to do something about
Yep.
it. So essentially, it's about timing, right? And so if it's timing and relevant, you could scale timing and relevant, or you could scale relevance, persona relevance. It's just
Mhm.
that
Yep.
like the personalization, if you're going to take like what's her name? I want to say Kristen. Oh my God, she was such a good friend. There was a girl
Clearly.
out there, I'll remember in a second, who was really big in writing emails and Rev Geniuser. I don't know why her name is escaping me. We were so close at one point, and
Shout out to her. We
she
don't
does
know.
a she does a ton of personalization and scores. Like it's like one out of every two. She's converted.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? That's how
Wow.
good it is. But not everybody can do that. Really, kind of
we
depends on
don't.
who you're working for and
Yep.
what you're selling and all that kind of stuff. But you could scale persona relevance, right?
Mhm.
You could send the same kind of message to a CFO at in this industry. You could send it to 20 of those CFOs, and it's
Right, not
probably going to be
200, right? You
not
could do
200.
Yep.
20 and that's still scaling that.
Yeah, yeah.
And then break it down to that growth too. Like, "Hey, I saw you," like, give them that congratulations. "Hey, congrats on the recent growth. Congrats on the recent funding round. Like that's amazing. Like clearly you guys are doing something right. Been talking to other leaders. I'm curious what your thoughts are. We're seeing a lot of people who are having XYZ problem as they do scale.
Yep.
Is this something that you guys are also facing? Gathering more information. Would love to hear your thoughts. And no CTA, just
Yeah.
curious, right?
Right.
And it's um, people want to talk about what's going on with them. Everyone's favorite topic is
Mm,
themselves. So,
Mhm.
or their company if it's that C-suite, they want to talk about what they're doing, even though they have zero clue what's going on
Right.
with what their reps are even using or doing. They have no idea, in my opinion. But, Mark, like you can speak to this more so than I can when it comes to the whole emailing portion of things. Like, I mean, like Patrick Joyce, like y'all are buddies, like how he is with his codex, all of that. It's super. I mean, I've used a lot of his stuff even through selling a service
Mhm.
and just changed the wording a little bit around. And it's been
Super
so cool. Oh
Yeah,
my God.
super persona based. I mean, he's all about that. I think with respect to email, and I know this is not a coaching call, but I always feel like, despite what you're actually saying in the email, it's about how you sequence it out, right?
Yeah.
Because,
mhm.
executives aren't at their desk. They only got 5 minutes to look at an email. They're scrolling through their preview pane. If your subject line in the first 18 words is attractive enough for him to open it, they may find it interesting, but they can't react to it right this minute because they got to go through the other emails before they go off to their next meeting.
Yep.
That's why Justin, Michael, and Patrick,
Yeah.
and the whole community works that sequence of like, let's send the thoughts bump or something the next day,
Yeah.
because essentially it's not, everyone got on the bandwagon like, oh, thoughts, one word, that's stupid, people are gonna shut it down. I got
True, right?
most of
Yeah.
my opens in what I was doing in Yesware for other clients were opening on the bump or opening on the third email that comes the third day, 1, 2, 3, right
Mhm.
away, because now you're top of mind marketing for that person because you're hitting them on LinkedIn or Instagram as well as email. And now, like when the call comes in and they see the caller ID says Amelia Taylor, they're going to pick it up because they're like, you've been calling and emailing me for the last 3 days. What do
I'm
you want?
seeing you everywhere,
Yeah.
I
right?
don't care if they get on the phone belligerent, happy to hear me. I mean,
Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
one call where a guy said, I didn't even say anything. I called him up. I said, hey, this is Mark. I don't know if you saw my email. Oh man, I saw your stuff and I've been talking to my friend and this and that.
Yeah.
And is there any way that we could do a demo? You could show me how it all works, like maybe Tuesday at
Oh,
3.
yeah.
And I was like, yes, I'll send you a calendar link. Bye. And that
Did
was
you
like the
know
Yeah.
whole
that?
call.
Those are like, hallelujah, amen, right? Like
Yeah.
those are don't come every day. But when you do things the right way, you do that, say to 20 people, 20 of those people within that ICP, you're going to find somebody who's going
Yep.
to be responsive in that positive way because you did things the right way. And
Yeah.
you did things that
Right.
actually are going to be revenue generating activities opposed to just, oh, I hate my job. I'm picking up the phone nonstop. I'm making $600 a day because that's what we do.
Yeah.
Okay, but, like, you don't even know who you're calling, you don't know what value you're bringing, like, what value matches what persona? Hello, reps, all reps, you have to know that, you have to, you can't talk to a marketing person about, like, revenue, they wanna know about let's talk about their inbound strategy, how lead attribution, whatever it is that you do that you can be helpful in that regard with, however you can help them, then use that and leverage what
Mm.
others are doing that you see are having problems. And then don't be afraid to reach out to people who are not those that you're necessarily selling to, but those that are active within wherever you are, present the most, whatever social channels and all of that. Hey, can I just ask you a quick question? I'm trying to figure out if this even makes sense, if this kind of messaging works. People
Yeah.
are they're so much more willing to help than people realize. I
Mhm.
mean, the people that you're like, "Oh, you're out of touch, like, you were way above me," kind of thing. I jumped in a call with Doug Landis just simply for him. I mean, through Instagram, we connected and chatted, which is kind of crazy. We jump on this call and he gives me a few like challenges of what I should kind of be doing and a few posts that I should share out there and all that. And I'm like, what is going on? I don't even like, you're like way up here. What is happening? I'm an A. What are we doing? But it's just because I commented on something that he posted and then he shot me a message and it was like, easy. Great, because nobody goes to sleep with their title. Everybody puts their
Yeah.
pants on the same way, so you can't think of it people being above you either.
So is it a misnomer to think that social selling is too long of a cycle
I mean,
for
I just
some
had a
people?
really great deal come through that was I wanna say 12-day cycle through literally Slack, and, I mean, it was we agreed on terms via Slack. I mean, it was that and through
Wow.
huddles via Slack, which is kinda funny.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it's completely a ridiculous thing. I think people just don't know how to do social selling because it's not taught enough
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
those in this middle tier management, they're not getting that it's so tough for them because they have this weight on their shoulders. Okay, my team has to perform, but how do I get them to perform in the best way? Do I need to give them like a big old slap on the butt and be like, go get them, Tiger? Or like a little talk in the corner of let's whisper and come to Jesus moment, right? Like, how are people best coached and approached? And know your people that you're like working with.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing because you coach, they don't know how to coach because they've never been taught how to coach
That's right.
or trained.
That's
So
spot on.
Zach, we just talked about that. You
Yeah.
can take it.
No, it's that's a recurring thing, right? Like, and I talked about this
it
the other day
kills
a
me.
little bit.
I cringe. I
Like,
cringe.
and there's different aspects of coaching too, right? Like there's a very like tactical, technical stuff, and then there's also like the mindset, right? And like I guess the ideal leader has kind of both of those aspects, right? And knows
EQ,
how to
IQ, right? How to
exactly, yeah, exactly. So I think that's massively important. I want to, well, it's still kind of top of mind. Mark, you mentioned bringing them into a conversation, like regardless if they're belligerent or whatever their state of mind is when you finally get somebody on the phone. But I think the key thing here that ties back to both phone calls and the Slack messaging is you're bringing that conversation to a point where it's more symmetrical, right? So you
Mhm.
can actually have like an open dialogue as opposed to a back and forth, with a big delay. Um, and I'd love to hear like how you approach the Slack conversation differently than say LinkedIn or even a phone call, right? Because I think that the approach is a little bit different. It sounds
You
like.
can't rapid fire, right, on the phone. I mean, you can if you want. If you wanna, like, really scare that person off and get blocked, sure, rapid fire call them out, like, 5 times in a row. Don't do that, people. But take that, okay, 1 call, great. If they don't answer, I'll leave a voicemail too that's, "Hey, it's Amelia. Give me a call when you get a second. Was just chatting with so and so." Maybe even name drop if I did chat with somebody, even a rep, they might not know them, but they're thinking, "Who's Amelia?" I don't say where I'm calling from. I don't say what I do or anything. They're wondering, "Who are you?" Or did we have a call scheduled? Are we friends? Do I even know? Give me a call when you get 2 seconds. Just want to run something by you. Great. Is that manipulation? I don't think so. I think it's just a tactic of being able to have that conversation.
Does it
Um,
backfire on you ever?
no, I got a FaceTime back one time because of it, being like,
Wow.
"I thought we knew each other."
Oh, wow.
Guess there's another Amelia Taylor in the world. Hello, shout out to you, Amelia Taylor. So, but it's, I think it was actually a butt dial too, a butt FaceTime things, but I got
Okay.
him on the phone. It was
Right.
great. So, our kids ended up talking and everything, so that, like, was the personal touch there because it was in
Yeah.
the evening when he did so.
And I'm sure
So,
they wanna see your face pop up instead of me and Zach, right? So
you bring out that little Southern drawl a little bit, it helps. I'm not gonna lie, what do you do? But I think with the social selling, with what you're saying, Zach, it's very much so, you've got to have this whole mindset thing of, well, how are you going to really like, what's my serious voicemail first? Yes, Michael, agree, totally. Um, and you've got to have this mindset of what your end goal is going to be too, right? Like, what is it that I'm actually trying to accomplish here, and why is it even where you're going to respond to me in any way? Am I going to respond to what you're reaching out to me saying? Like, if whatever I'm saying, would I respond to that? And I think that's the right mindset to have too, whether it's email, whether it's Slack. So when I do reach out to people, then I give about like a 48-hour turnaround. If I see that little green circle showing you're online, great. I'm going to go ahead and send you a little voice memo because that's way easier to listen to than reading something. And so clearly,
I wish I could poll the crowd right now and say, how many people actually use that as a trigger event, like seeing that green dot? Because I think LinkedIn did that actually in a way to help everybody.
they
And
did, and
Yeah.
Darren, he posted about it the other day. He's like, "Hey, send." It was in the other night. He was like, "Send your prospects something. It's 9 o'clock at night. Send them a quick little note if they've got that
Yep.
green little circle that's filled in right there, because they're sitting around, hanging out, watching TV, having a glass of wine, whatever. They're relaxed. They're chilling out. Send them a little voice note or something. Hey, I know it's not our normal 9 to 5, but
yeah,
saw that you were online. Just wanted to check in with you. Say hey, great to meet you. Hope you're enjoying a nice glass of cab right now. Something, and how I know I sure am, which is why I'm probably reaching out like a crazy person at night. Have
they're
that
probably like on a Wednesday night. What the?
right, like, but have fun with it. Like, hey, I'm drinking white wine right now. Like, I'm drinking Pinot Grigio. What are you drinking? Because I'm
Sure.
sure you're doing something too. It's 9 o'clock at night. Or what are we watching on Netflix? Right? Like something that's have a
Inventing
little fun
anime.
with it. And then a listen, I know this is a little bit unorthodox. Acknowledge that it's not the norm.
Sure.
And here's why I'm reaching out.
Mm.
Real quick, boom. Make it as human and as like simplified as possible. That's where people's guards are going down. That's how you're going to get that next call scheduled, because you're not going to have a conversation that night, but that's
Yep.
that warm touch that you can have to where they're going to say, "Hey, totally appreciate the message. Thanks so much for reaching out. Haha, love it. Yeah, no, I'm more of a whiskey drinker myself, Great. Okay, if he keeps going and they ghost you at one point, send him a bottle of whiskey, right? Like you already got that little tidbit in your mind of I know how to like get that little personal touch out there. Use the gifting platform then. So there's little things like that that just
Shout
like
out to
boom,
Sendosa,
shout
Alice.
out, y'all. Send us some stuff. Hey, listen, y'all need to send SDR insiders some stuff. That's all I'm saying. Gifting platforms, they need some stuff. So, but it's it it's those little things that matter so much that you've got to take note of. Maybe you and I, Mark, like we are doing it pen to paper sort of
Right.
thing. Zach, I feel like you're a little bit more advanced in that regard, to where you're doing things and you're actually putting it like in a folder somewhere in a
Yep.
drive, and it goes in the cloud, whatever all that means, right?
Don't give
So
me too much credit there. Pen
okay,
and
okay,
paper
we
all
have
day.
to that up that looks
I'm
advanced.
telling you, the best of the best. I mean, not to pat myself on the back, are still writing things down, and it's not because they're old. I'm talking about a 24-year-old who's good, probably writing stuff down.
Yeah,
It's like you don't have to be like old to do that. I
Yeah.
think
you
it's just style. I think it's just like convenience. I guess
Yeah.
and
mhm.
like just easier than typing it because I never type right. I'm a little dyslexic in the typing, so you read some of my posts, you'll see that I spelled that TAHT, like, so,
Right, but
it's just
it's
something you
let
get
it
used to
be.
doing.
That's just the
Yeah.
human that shows that you showed up in a human, authentic way. I realized though, someone told me, I think it was Tom Slocum told me, that if you go and you edit a post that you did, it completely takes away from the reach that you're going to get on
Yeah.
that post.
Yeah.
So, who
Yeah,
knows?
they like bad grammar, bad spelling. It likes that. I think it's
But
normal, it's human.
yeah,
I
It
to
did
err is
humanizes
human,
it.
right? Like
I did a
that's
poll about one time, um, the best like free Chrome extensions to have. I put Grammarly as one of the things in there. I spelled Grammarly wrong in my poll, and you can't
G-R-A-M-M-E-R-L.
go back and fix that. Yeah, and so people are
A-R.
like, "Wow, this was like a total." I mean, I had so much engagement on this thing because I did that, and so many
Mistake.
people wanted to correct me, or they're like, "This is hilarious," like, thinking I did that on purpose, and I'm like,
yeah.
"No."
Fantastic marketing play right there.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm like, that was such an accidental marketing play, but it also was like, totally by accident, but I was like, "I'm not fixing this." I'd have to delete the whole thing because you can't fix a poll.
It's
But
like no new, it's like any kind of publicity. I don't want to say publicity, but any kind of exposure like that, even if it's a mistake, nobody's coming off of that and saying this girl's dumb. I'm not gonna deal with her because she didn't spell this right. I don't.
right,
Nobody's looking at it that way.
Mhm.
I think if it gets you that reach, kudos. Like what's the difference? Like that was the point. That's the point of why we're some point of why a little point of why we do these kinds of things is just to get people exposed. Like we wanted to bring you here because like we know that you have a story and it should be shared, and you have some skills that people should learn from, and you definitely brought it today. I mean, I feel like social selling is everything that you're doing, and even if it's the littlest thing, like I don't want to make someone afraid to. They don't have to do this. They don't
no,
have to be like massively in dark social or anything like that. Just do a
we're the
little
dark web
bit.
people. Let's make sure people know dark social's not dark web.
Right.
Because I've had numerous people say that to me. Amelia, what the hell is dark
It's
social?
dark social. It's
Yeah.
the only dark
It's
social Slack channel is what
I'm
Patrick
like,
Joyce's that dark
yeah,
social channel.
yeah, join it. Come on, people.
No,
Ask
but
us.
it's like Rev Genius, Hype Cycle,
It's
even
anything
all
that's
the other ones.
unorthodox outreach methods, right? It's the texting is dark social, right? The whole it's anything like that. It's finding your buyers where they're at, whether it's WhatsApp groups, whatever it is. It totally. Bye, Joe. And so it's
Joe Rust.
Joe Rest.
Isn't that a
Shout out
great name? That I do that a lot too.
to
Just
him.
it's so funny when I'm making calls. Like it may sound cheesy or whatever, but I'll acknowledge people's names, like a name like that. Like if I had
Mhm.
to if I called up Joe Rust, I'd be like, Joe Rust, what's up? And
Joe Rest, my
I'd be
man.
like, dude, what's it
Joe
like
Ross.
growing up with a name like that? Like I met a guy named Joe Law. Like he's the law. Could you imagine what his friends called him when he was a kid? Like you're the law.
Yo,
Like
well, what a cool name. Like, that's like, yeah, like I would have to do something like that for sure. I mean, I was late to this call by like 7 minutes the other day, and it's solely because I wanted these Twizzlers that one of my daughters had. And I knew she put them in the kitchen somewhere, and I was thinking about them, and I was like, I want this damn Twizzlers. And so I was like, where did she put them? So I'm looking, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm 7 minutes late to this call. This guy, he's a little bit older. He's in the VC guy. Like he's very much so one of those you don't. He was in the army for a long time. You're not going to show up late for this call with this guy. Did I?
mhm.
With Twizzlers in hand? Absolutely. Looking like a ridiculous human. And the whole thing was that he was so great. I just said, listen, I'm so sorry, but you got to hear why right now because this is life changing. I found the Twizzlers my daughter had, and I haven't had Twizzlers in years, and they were the greatest thing I've ever had. The peel and eat ones, and he's like, yeah. So later that day, like 4 hours later, we had a great conversation, schedule our next call, all that. I get a text with him outside of the gas station holding Twizzlers, smiling, a
Wow.
selfie, which was and I'm like, "That is the funniest thing ever," and he's
Awesome.
like, "You are so right, I totally needed these in my life."
There you go.
It was just because you just what, even the faults or even, like, the things that you feel like, "Oh, shoot, I totally failed here," use it to your advantage of, "I'm human," or if a demo's not going your way, whatever, a call's not going your way, "Hey, I'm totally off today, and we clearly both know it. I'm gonna count down to, like, we're gonna go 3, 2, 1, and then, like, I'm gonna just real quick start over.
Yeah.
Okay? Ready? And just do it. And make
Nice.
it just because there's so many people in the world that you can reach out to, right? Like, don't let
Yeah.
one conversation that doesn't go your way skew the whole mindset that you've got because whatever you tell
Yeah.
yourself between your 2 ears, whatever it is that you say that you will do, do it. And if
Yeah.
it's you've got to write things down. I mean, I've got sticky notes galore because we write things down, right? Of just certain things that one stair at a time, not the whole staircase, is like one of my biggest things. So tackle whatever it is, 3 things on that one stair. And then you can move to the next. Because if you look
Mhm.
at your whole day or all these things you got to do, or even like your career, right? Like it's overwhelming. And then you get in your own head and you get in your own way. So get
Mhm.
out of your own way by stop overthinking and just be you because who said it? Dr. Seuss, I think. There's no better you than you. So,
Very good.
you know, be you because people appreciate when people show up in a human aspect. I know that I do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So other than Twizzlers, what's Amelia Taylor's late night go-to snack?
Oh my gosh, anything chocolate, anything. But straight up I mean,
Like Gobstopper chocolate or ice cream chocolate,
oh
like
no, like
or both?
double fudge ice cream, something chocolate, no doubt. But it's got to be paired with like a great wine for sure. Might be Trader Joe's $2 chuck because like don't care what kind of wine.
What about Zach?
But
Zach, what about you, man? What are you digging into late night when you're creating?
Oh, man. No joke, Twizzlers are right up there, like top 3 as far as candies go. I got some in the cabinet up there. I know exactly what you mean when you gotta chase those things down.
can't
Um,
help myself, yeah.
yeah, and I don't know. I usually go, like, more sweet than, like, chocolatey, I think. Um, but I'm not ashamed to have a cup of coffee at midnight either, so
Wow. Yeah.
Dang, that's aggressive right there. I would be like deer in headlights all night. Like I can't sleep.
So
What
yeah.
Oh,
what's Matt going after?
Well, in the fridge on the door, which is very easy open, you reach in, there's a bag of Hershey's chocolate kisses, dark chocolate
ooh,
kisses. So it's really
like,
bad because they're little tiny ones, right? So I
mhm,
think my brain thinks it could just keep going in there like
manipulating
all
yourself.
day, and
Yeah.
like one for lunch, one for dinner, one after two, and it's so easy because you open up the fridge and you don't see anything that's open right there. You just grab
You
it.
know what?
So I'm
Reward
a chocolate kiss guy, chocolate ice cream, but lactose free. Unfortunately, when you turn 40, you'll realize why that's the case.
feel like I'm
And yeah, that's me, chocolate ice cream and chocolate kisses.
I think that's amazing. No, well now I know what I can send y'all as just a thank you. So Alice and Dosa, whoever, if y'all want to sponsor, let us know. Um, I'll
Or
I'll give y'all a big shout out. No, I'm totally. I think so. I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast recently, and it was with Rogan and this guy, and who was his name? Andrew. He's some kind of um, some scientist of some sort, whatever. Studies all kinds of things with the brain, health, all this kind of stuff. So they're having this deep conversation about how how a lot of people's brains will work. Like there's a 9 hour increments. Like the first like 8 or 9 hours of the day, it's where some of your like the creative juices aren't flowing. Sometimes it's midnight right when it starts to hit for some people. I totally feel that because I know I'm get sleep deprived like crazy because I know that's when some of my like greatest thoughts come to mind. So for those out there who do have that kind of like, all right, creative juices flow at night and like I need sleep at the same time and whatever, I'll do the dictate thing. Like I will literally just talk into my notes in my phone. It picks
nice.
up half the things I say, so I have to kind of decipher it sometimes because they're like, "What the hell are you saying, Amelia?" In my phone, they don't. My phone doesn't like my voice sometimes, I guess. But I'll talk into it, and then if I've got ideas or things that I'm like, "Oh, I should do this," and I'll just make these lists or these, even if I'm in the shower or something, I'll have I can I'll just talk to my phone about whatever it is that I'm thinking. Oh my gosh, this is like what someone shared. I totally disagree with this. And there could be unsolicited advice. This is a great post to kind of play off of. Here's an idea for just content I can do. But
Mhm.
doing that dictating, speaking into your phone, that simplifies your life.
Oh
You
yeah.
get it out of your mind and it's not that pen to paper where you gotta sit and actually do it. Like, you can
I
just do
just
it wherever you are.
I just realized that like if you had the phone on the sink near the shower and you just like, hey Siri, right? Because you say take a
Yeah,
note. I don't think that like I always think like I'm in the shower, some of my greatest ideas come to me, and
yeah,
then about
me
15
too.
minutes later when I'm downstairs having breakfast, I completely forgot what the hell
No,
I thought
me
about.
too. So, like, if I don't do that right then and there, like, it's gone. I
Yeah.
will not remember at all. I mean, whatsoever. And um, so there's something in my phone right now. I went to go take my daughters to go see some movie a few weeks ago. Uh, I have no clue what it says, but I know it was a brilliant thing that I picked up off this like kids Disney movie, whatever. Don't remember. because I was whispering into my phone in the movie theater, and my phone didn't pick up anything I was saying, and I'm, like, still trying to decipher what the hell I even said in this thing, 'cause I'm like, "This thing was brilliant. Whatever I was thinking, I know it was brilliant." The world may never know. I may never know,
It'll come
but,
back.
I just thought that was funny too, because 'cause I'm like, sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't, but to just have a place where you're gonna have this, uh, centralized place where ideas come to mind, or even just, like, different outreach tactics, um it might be the absolute worst idea ever. Reach out to people and ask them if it's the worst idea ever, too. Don't be afraid to ask for advice on, "Hey, does this make sense?" I mean, I'd do that, and I'd rather people be brutally honest. "Amelia, that sucks. Don't ever talk about that again." Or, "Yeah,
Vulnerability is
oh,
yeah,
yeah."
vulnerability is great. Like one last thing I wanted to mention was that, like I was talking with a person the other day, and she said that she's a BDR leader, and one of her team is struggling. And I said, well, give me the parameters, what's going on. And she told me the story, and the girl's really, really trying hard. Like she's reading books, she's in blogs, she's just trying to figure it out, and she just can't seem to do it. And I told her, I was like, there might be just some things you need to tweak in the calling aspect of it. But one of the things that it was interesting to her is I talked to her about, when somebody doesn't have a lot of experience and they fall flat on their face. Let's say everybody does when they first join a company and they get on the phone and they're probably making really crappy calls,
Yeah.
right? Until they get better at it. I suggested to have her call back the very first person she had a conversation with and literally tell that person, hey, if this was the case, hey, this is, Amelia over at whatever now. We spoke a few weeks ago, but I have to admit that it was like my first day and I probably really stunk. So like, I would love to just kind of redo that sort of call with you if you wouldn't mind. And, you'll be surprised. Like
Mhm.
90% of those people will be like, okay, because one, they don't even remember that you called 2 months ago. Right. And if you were terrible, they certainly don't remember. Right. And so,
Were you're the example to their team of what not to do, so you're known and within the whole organization, and they're like, "Alright, redemption, let's see what they actually change."
yeah, and she, she's gonna go and help her do that, and it's like I can guarantee you that like you're gonna get the time to talk. You know what I mean? And because people genuinely have empathy,
Yep.
and
Right,
if you come
exactly.
across vulnerable and you admit your mistake or that you were terrible, they'll find it funny. It's a pattern interrupt,
Yep.
right?
Yeah,
And so you'll wind up getting a meeting, potentially, and really, jump
Yeah.
starting, your slump. So,
And
such a hot
yeah.
topic, side note, I know we're wrapping up. Pattern interrupt, that I'm seeing that being said, I mean, I saw 4 or 5 posts yesterday on that topic alone. I don't know if either one of you did. Zach, did you? I feel like you might have. You did.
I said something about patterns, pattern interrupts becoming the pattern, right?
You
And
did?
then
Okay, I
yeah,
knew.
and that's
Yeah.
the thing that we're seeing more and more, like, as voices get amplified, right? And then it's expected. So I think if you can adjust, a little bit as you go along and figure out what's just different enough to set you apart, that's gonna go a
Mhm.
long way.
Well, knowing
Well, it's
what
like
makes
the 20
you first,
go ahead.
like,
It's like
you're
the 27-second thing,
Yep.
right? Like they
yeah,
preach that, but you don't have to say it exactly like that. The idea of addressing um the obvious, right? This is an interruption. You know, can I
uh-huh,
have 20 seconds? Can I have a few seconds? Like, you don't have to say 27 seconds,
Yeah.
but can
right,
I have a few seconds to tell you why I've called? If you alter that or change that, it's still permission based opener, but you can make it your own. It's still a pattern interrupt. Still, people I don't think expect it. Um, I like, like Caleb, right? He'll do like, either tell me that this is something you're interested in talking about, or tell me to go pound sand. They
yeah, I
laugh.
like that.
Mhm.
Once they laugh, it's like gold.
Yeah. I had a
If
guy
I can make
yesterday,
anyone laugh, I'm like, "Yes, I got you." Like, I got you on the hook, yeah.
Yep. That for sure. That's the thing. Like I use that permission based, hey, we don't know each other, would you mind if I let you know why I called? And the guy says, yeah, if we don't know each other, like I don't want to know why you're calling me. I said, so that's a no. Like, would you rather hang up? And then like just me pushing back a little bit, like flipped it enough to where it's
You're
like,
not
okay,
curious?
let me know like why you give me a call. So then I went into it, ended up booking a meeting with him, but just little things like that. If you can stay on your toes and just be nimble, and go with the flow a
That
little bit.
EQ, that's an EQ. You gotta
Yep.
be able to pivot and shift a bit. So that's
And be even keeled. Don't look like you got rattled. That's the
Exactly.
key. Justin Michael was
especially
on
in a
made
month. Yeah.
Justin Michael made a phone call to a guy who was getting on his jet.
Casual.
Okay, Friday
Bring
night.
it down.
That guy was like, I'm getting on my jet to go to Spain. What do you want? And he was like, oh, cool. What restaurants are you gonna go to in Spain? Like he
Yep.
just went right into like, what are you doing in Spain? I was there last month, even though he
Not
probably
even
wasn't.
permission
Yeah.
based, right? I
you know,
skip the whole permission based thing with people. I mean, I think that's just more my style of it
sure.
being a casual, hey, totally calling you out of the blue. I know we both have got probably crazy hectic days, end of month. How is end of month going? How are you doing? Like, are you hanging in
Yeah.
there? Or are you totally losing your mind? Because I know a lot of people are. Make it to where it's just they put that guard down, right?
Yeah.
And how questions are better than what questions? How questions psychologically they are going to be a little bit more of a opposed to like, what are you doing this month? How are you doing? Like, how are you
Yeah.
guys handling this month? Like, are y'all, it just is, I'll just kind of leave it on that note. But that's something I learned one of my first sales gigs was asking how questions opposed to what questions.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, guys, I think we covered a lot of ground this morning. Amelia, really appreciate you taking the time to join us. I'm sure everybody in the audience enjoyed it. Again, uh, you're going on the live cold call event this afternoon with Rev Genius. Um, where can people find you and track you down after this episode and get in touch with you?
My about section, go to my LinkedIn, connect with me. Go to my about section. I've got my Calendly in there. I've got 15 minutes just that I time block for just networking. So you want to have a conversation, learn how to kind of scale up with your social selling. Happy to help. I've been helped before previously, and it's gone a long way. So it's, you know, you give and see what happens. So giving is selling and selling's helping. So they'll go it's full circle.
Yeah.
So reach out. Happy to help anybody. But um, you two are killing it. Side note, you guys are doing amazing and really, really happy that y'all asked me to jump on here. Sorry, I was a few minutes late. Tiny
Your
humans had
first
to get
No
camp.
worries.
But
Twizzlers are important.
you know what? It might have been Twizzlers. Maybe I'm lying about even having kids, right? Maybe it's Twizzlers. But
You're our first guest, so you'll go
Yeah.
down in history, and we really thank you for joining us. I'm really glad to have connected with you, and hopefully continue to become friends
yeah,
and share great ideas. That's what it's all about. Very cool.
100%. Yeah. Any feedback on anything or vice versa, like I'll send y'all's way, y'all send mine, and we'll just, help each other better up for sure.
All right. Awesome.
You want to
Well, this
plug
has been
Carabiner? You can do that too if you like.
yeah.
Yeah. Anybody need RevOps or you don't know what it is? Come on. I got you. I got you. I got you.
RevOps as a service, absolutely.
RevOps is a service, hashtag. So yeah. And and for y'all too, we have our revenue rescue or no RevOps rescue every Wednesday. It's just a free link. Like you just jump on Rosalind talks about all things RevOps and kind of people all Q&A, all of that.
Nice.
Super easy.
I'll check that
So
out.
I'll share that link and
Awesome.
I'll share it in Rev Genius just because I think everybody's in there. So
Okay.
Very cool.
Cool.
All right. This has
awesome.
been Mac and Zach in the morning. Join us next Thursday, 8 a.m. Eastern. We'll see ya.
Bye y'all.
Take care.